And so I wonder, for you, having watched it, if you thought any of what they threw stuck, and how you think Democrats contrast the things they are trying to do legislatively with Republicans choosing to turn Congress into a dog and pony show.
Well, I mean, I think if anything, if they're going to go into investigation palooza, they better start investigating things that the American people care about, perhaps even some of these unidentified objects being shot down, because Congressman Jolly said, Alicia, I think there is a question in the minds of most Americans and folks around the world, what is this leading to? But when it comes to these Republican investigations, in a weird way, it is difficult, if you will, to blame them for engaging in these weaponized investigations, Alicia, because this is all they know how to do. It is crystal clear that they have forfeited any ideas of trying to actually use their House majority to govern and address the issues that the public opinion polls that I and others track every day say what Americans are concerned about. So as long as they continue on this grievance politics and this politics of Benghazi, which we saw during the Obama era, or the politics of Whitewater, which we saw during the Clinton era, it's really the only way Republicans know how to deal with Democratic presidents. They can't offer counter policies, so they weaponize investigations in a hope of muddying the waters and politically doing damage. But I think the American people are paying attention. And I think it's partially why the reaction to President Biden's State of the Union speech was so well received, because it does draw that tremendous contrast between what governing looks like and what the politics of destruction and investigation look like, Alicia.
Which is exactly what the Biden team wanted to pull off. Katia, your outlet, new reporting from Insider, dives into the legislation we're seeing introduced by House Republicans. Speaker McCarthy, quote, knows that while ultra-conservative bills could pass with the slimmest of margins, they would be purely symbolic. Many GOP members would welcome such actions ahead of the 2024 presidential election in an attempt to create a foil in President Joe Biden. But for McCarthy, continually arm-twisting to pass bills that won't go anywhere may not inspire confidence among independents that will decide legions of House races next year. What challenges lie ahead for McCarthy, do you think, as the far right of the party gains more influence? We've talked so much about threats to his leadership. It also is threats to legislation.
Absolutely, 100%, Alicia. I think when we're looking at the status of independents who have been looking at Republicans and their majority of the House, and then they've seen it as they've been polled, they've seen it as mostly about revenge and mostly focusing on a preoccupation with Biden and his family, and not necessarily looking at the real life needs of the American people. As we've already heard before, there are so many things that came up at the State of the Union, especially when it came to Medicare and Social Security. Really, the Democrats and Biden were trying to call to them at the Republicans and trying to say, hey, we're trying to get something done here. Is that what you're going to do? Or are you just going to focus on these investigations? And now that we're looking at a historical trend, as it was pointed out earlier, this is a historical trend. We see that the more time Congress spends on hearings and into these potential executive, branch of misconduct, the lower the president's approval ratings will be. And so we saw what happened earlier this week with Biden really trying to take a shot and say, this is what I'm going to be, this is what the American people should expect from me in 2024.